OpenAI's long-term risk team is no more.
I'm stunned. What on earth was it doing? Was it meditating? Was it watching like post-apocalyptic sci-fi? Easy thing to say you're doing because it's a stupid fear about AI.
Will Wegovy bankrupt the U.S. health system?
You mean to tell me that a drug company is fleecing the government and its customers? People who are living with diabetes are having a hard time finding this drug, and the price is going up for them as well.
Another problem we have is like people like actors in Hollywood are getting it to, lose some weight. Like for people who are not obese, who are just trying to keep their weight down. Full disclosure, I did, see my doctor a while ago, and we were talking about putting me on one of these drugs, probably Wegovy, because I am quite a bit overweight. For those people who are only listening to this show, don't know, but we ended up not doing it basically because of this.
So this is a bad story all the way around. And I think that the tech angle, at least as I see it, is there are a lot of tech bros promoting this.
Nonconsensual AI porn maker leaks customer emails.
But I could see journalists or other people who don't like what he's doing getting on a free tier or whatever at Patreon just to see what this guy's up to. I'm not sure it's great that all these customers' emails are out there. Sure, it's like unethical, I suppose, but it's like unethical in the same way that like it's unethical to use a drug like cocaine, whereas the person manufacturing and importing it is ruining countless people's lives.
Hello, how the tech are you? This is our tech show on Echoplex Media. We talk about tech news and science news and any other tech and science stuff we want to talk about. I am historian Matt. I am the co-producer and co-host on this show. And I've got one other co-host who may introduce himself later, may not. I don't know. Who knows what's going on? But I'm the only one with the stories this week. So I'll jump right into those. I've got an extra story because we're short on people today. But my first story is OpenAI's long-term risk team is no more. And basically what happened in July of 2023, OpenAI formed a team to think about and prepare for super smart AI. The goal was to avoid the AI apocalypse where super smart AI overcomes their creators and kills all humans, I assume. That's not really what their stated goal was, but that's basically what their goal was, right? The team's name was Super Alignment Team, which sounds, I don't know if that's a good name or a bad name, to tell you the truth, but it's an interesting name. But OpenAI claimed that the team would be allocated 20% of the company's computing power, but the team no longer exists. There wasn't really an announcement. They didn't just like shut down the team, but basically some members of the team left the company for various reasons. Others were transferred onto other teams. And there was just like a general feeling that the team was not giving the resources they promised. I don't know about that 20% computing power, but it sounds like they didn't really get that or any other kind of support. So what do you think, Dave?
I'm stunned.
Are you really?
No. I mean, 20% of their computing power just sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like a made up thing to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what that means. Does that like 20% of their computing power where? And what on earth was it doing? Was it meditating?
Yeah, I don't know what they needed the compute power for. It seems like a team that was more about, I mean, maybe they're doing experiments and stuff, but it seems like a team was more about making policy and stuff like that.
Was it running like a million instances of one of those mindfulness apps?
Maybe. Probably not.
No, I can't imagine what, like, let's say that they were devoting 20% of their compute power, whatever that means. What on earth? Was it thinking about itself?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was it watching like post-apocalyptic sci-fi?
I don't know. Like, I don't know if they even have like, it was even some sort of AI thing like ChatGPT or something. I don't know what they would actually use the compute power for. It seems like this kind of team would be something that sets up policy and stuff like that to add something to other people's like work to keep it from going rogue. I don't know. I don't think that's very likely to happen, but I don't know. People are worried about it.
I think that they were kind of playing off of what I think is a dumb fear about AI, right? Where the dumb fear is the Terminator, essentially, where the AI becomes sentient and starts building killer robots.
Yeah.
Not a bad, those movies kind of hold up, by the way. Not bad. I'm not a movie guy.
That's true.
They do hold up. Not a lot of the problems maybe with some movies of their era, but I think they were doing that because there's no way to prove whether or not they're doing it, I don't think. But two, it's like an easy thing to say you're doing because it's a stupid fear about AI.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they kind of did it because probably back when they started, that was around when Elon Musk was going around saying how AI was going to kill everybody and it's like the scariest thing to happen. And they had this idea that it was going to be something like Terminator, where the AI takes over. I don't think that's likely. There are definitely problems with AI. Like I don't think it's going to take over that way. I think it's just going to take all of our jobs. And now what do we do? Right.
Yeah. And we ran a clip on the Sunday show of Sam Altman, and I got big John from Garfield energy from him, but wasn't really the point of the clip.
Yeah.
He had said that like going forward there was going to be a premium on high quality human experiences. And I was just shocked that I was like, did he just learn about entertainment?
Yeah, really.
Like what does he mean? Does he mean the way he was talking about it, he could have just been talking about friendship or a concert, a rave maybe? But it was such a weird thing for him to say during this interview. And so I think this was one of those things where these people, the people running these companies, I'm sure the engineers and whatever are not this detached from reality. But I think that the people at the top of this company like think that random people, that they're just going to assuage everybody's fears by saying, well, we're going to actually have it meditate or some version of that, right? Because that's how they like improve their own mindset or grind set or whatever it is they're doing. Right. So they just think that the average person thinks that through introspection, the AI can solve its own problems that it's going to create for society. And that's it's a combination of like podcast brain and Silicon Valley brain.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, can they give it supplements?
No. And I'm sure like this team wasn't proposing stuff like maybe, taxes on computers and robots to make up for the fact that all these jobs are going to go away in the near future.
Maybe that's why they pulled the plug on it. Maybe
what they were telling them we need to have a AI tax to.
Yeah. Maybe the AI came back. Maybe the AI came back with like society-wide things that need to happen that would negatively affect the bottom line of the AI company. And they're like, well, that's not the answer we wanted.
Nope.
Though I doubt it. That would be a very funny thing to find out later, that the AI was like, well, to, solve some of these problems here, we're going to, y'all are going to have to, pay a whole lot of taxes, and so are other companies, because it looks like all these companies are going to be using AI and it's going to put a lot of people out of jobs. And according to the, ethics model 7B that you gave me, people do need food and shelter. And so this is our proposal. And they're like, time to pull the plug on that, which sort of if that was the case, which I don't think it is, it's just a funny like fanfic that I'm writing about this, or maybe opposite of fanfic. It sort of would be like the same thing as like the fear of it taking over. Well, you just shut down whatever is that's doing the bad. Yeah. So I think that what you said kind of during the part where I wasn't talking, like the segment part where you said that you would assume that it was supposed to be people who do a policy for the company. I don't think that was ever what they were doing.
I don't know if we probably, if I followed, because the link article that I put in actually talks about who the people were that left and some of why they left and stuff like that. I didn't want to go into too much detail on that, so you can read more about it. But I'm guessing if you actually like followed some of these people and looked at what they were writing, maybe you'd have a better idea of what they were actually doing. But I don't know specifically. They probably weren't making an AI program or ChatGPT type program that was like, we got to overthrow the patriarchy, usher in a communist revolution. It
would be funny if it came back with some version of that though, and they pulled the plug on it for that reason.
A little clippy show pops up in the bottom corner, right? And he's like, looks like you're trying to overthrow the capitalist society.
You're fired.
And you're fired.
Oh, they should bring back Clippy though. I think that would be the funnest thing they could do with it would be to bring back Clippy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they
There's a lot of
suggested.
memes about it.
Maybe it did suggest bringing back Clippy, and then I don't know. Maybe it was right to fire. Maybe it was right for them all to quit. They're like, I don't want that.
Not doing that.
Not doing that. What do you got next,
bringing
Matt?
back Clippy. Okay, on to the next one. Give me a second to pull it up. So, this is a little different topic than we normally talk about, but and a questionable headline. So, what I have is: Will Wegovy bankrupt the U.S. health system? So, if you've been living under a rock and you may not know about Wegovy, everybody else probably does, but it's the highly effective anti-obesity drug that is derived from a diabetes drug. Basically, Wegovy is the higher dose version of it, of this diabetes drug that is specifically prescribed for obesity, and that's to, of course, reduce obesity. People who take it end up losing quite a bit of weight on it. And it's very popular. It's also, the drug is also wildly expensive, at least in the US. In the US, it costs about $809 per month, and that's after all of like the rebates and stuff that they give people to incentivize them to take it, so that it's the listing price is a lot higher than what the price you actually pay. This is the estimated actual cost, what you actually pay per month. Well, a Senate report came out, and according to the Senate report, if half the people in the U.S. who are currently obese got the drug, started taking the drug, it would cost the U.S. healthcare system $411 billion per year. And to contrast that, that's more than the $406 billion Americans spend on all prescriptions per year combined currently. This, and specifically for Medicare and Medicaid, which cover a smaller portion of the U.S. population, it costs those programs about $166 billion per year. And so obviously this is just outrageously high. Wegovy costs much less outside the U.S. It's very expensive in the U.S., but in places, the only example I have from the article is here. It's from Denmark, and it costs about $186 per month, which is still pretty high. But some researchers in Yale estimated that the drug could be sold for $5 per month, and the maker of Wegovy could still make money off of it. What do you think, Dave?
You mean to tell me that a drug company is fleecing the government and its customers?
Yeah, it is. But it's like, I don't know. It's absurd. Like, it's to a level that, like, you kind of expect them to overcharge stuff, but we're talking like more than 100 to 1, in terms of like what they're charging versus how much it costs for them to actually produce it.
Almost 200 to 1.
Almost 200 to 1. Yeah. That is just completely insane.
And I know this because I know people with diabetes who were on this. The other effect of this is now they have a tougher time getting their hands on this for its intended use.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not great because this is a pretty good drug for people with diabetes. It helps them a lot. And the fact that it's been popularized, not just by the drug company, but I've seen people talking about it on podcasts by some of the usual suspects that we might talk about on a different show.
Right.
About how it's like a wonder drug. Comes to my mind immediately Scott Galloway, who is on the Pivot Show, who over the last little while has not been great, but he's promoting this. He's saying that everybody who's overweight should be on this drug. And
everybody's overweight, not even like obese, but just a little overweight.
I don't know. He didn't say a little, but he said overweight.
Okay.
But the cost for it in this dosage is one thing, but the more important negative effect, and the reason I think that the FDA should and will probably eventually step in here, is that the people who are living with diabetes are having a hard time finding this drug, and the price is going up for them as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And
they
need it to survive.
Yeah. Not as much as insulin, but that's also, the price of that is like way the heck up. But this drug is, so this version is not the same as a diabetes drug. I don't know how much the price difference is, but I mean, it is the same active ingredient. It's just that, or it's the same active molecule, right? It's just that the Wegovy one is a much higher dose. And I don't know why that works, but apparently it's better for losing weight and doesn't seem to have terribly bad side effects. I do know somebody who is, I think they're on Wegovy and not, there's a couple other drugs that are very similar, that work in a similar manner. And she's doing it because of weight loss, and was not actually diabetic yet, but if you're very heavy for an extended period of time, you usually end up developing diabetes. But she ended up losing quite a considerable amount of weight, and I think continues to lose weight. Exactly how it works, though, is a little bit, I don't know if I'd say controversial, but there's different arguments for why. Like some say it's the actual like molecule not allowing you to absorb stuff. There's one that I know that's taking it said that, well, if you start eating too much crap, you just feel really, really bad. You have all the side effects when you eat the bad stuff. So it makes you end up eating good stuff instead and not overeating.
Do we know, I mean, because things are prescribed off label all the time, and most of the time it's not a big deal. But do we know like what the state of the medical research on this drug is for this particular off label use?
Well, no, I think this is actually on-label use now because it is specifically for obesity. But it's for people who are obese. Another problem we have is like people like actors in Hollywood are getting it to, lose some weight. Like for people who are not obese, who are just trying to keep their weight down to slim down, that's another issue.
Right. Like someone like me, I could use to lose 20, 30 pounds, right? Like it would benefit my health and my ego and, maybe my interactivity on Grindr, but but I don't need it and I wouldn't consider it because there are other interventions. And I think that like what you're describing, the fact that it's almost being marketed by some people as like a designer weight loss drug is probably causing some of the problem too.
Yeah.
Because people, I can't imagine there aren't people with means out there doctor shopping to get this prescribed.
Right. Yeah. And well, the other thing is I just don't know what, I don't remember the maker of Wegovy is, but I don't know why they can't just ramp up production, right? Is there something, are they just behind, or is it like, there's something holding them back from ramping up production more? Yeah. I will have to say, full disclosure, I did, see my doctor a while ago, and we were talking about putting me on one of these drugs, probably Wegovy, because I am quite a bit overweight. For those people who are only listening to this show, don't know, but we ended up not doing it basically because of this. Like she's like, no insurance company covers it anymore. Like she can't get any insurance to cover it, and so I'd have to pay full price for it, and it would just be prohibitively expensive to do. Right. And it turns out I didn't need to have lost weight otherwise, so it's all good.
And I think it would be fine for maybe like extreme circumstances, but I mean, I've seen TV commercials for it.
Yeah.
Like I don't watch TV, but I go to my parents' house and, it's mostly, it's being marketed to older people too, like non-diabetic older people, because I mean, that's who watches TV.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And, I don't know. I haven't seen ads for it on YouTube, but I also don't see ads for pharmaceuticals on YouTube. So maybe YouTube doesn't do ads for pharmaceuticals at this point. I
don't know. That's one that I pay for the YouTube premium, and I'm very glad I do because I watch a lot of YouTube and I don't have to see any ads at all except for the creator ads, which I wish I didn't have to do that. But speaking of which, check out our store.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I'm surprised because I have heard pharmaceutical ads on podcasts, but I haven't heard any ads for these sort of, we'll call them like miracle weight loss drugs. I've heard miracle weight loss cure ads on podcasts, but not for anything FDA approved, right? Right. So this is bad all around. The cost is high. I mean, if people can afford it, that's fine, but it's like there are enough people out there who can afford this that it is impacting the availability of like you said, the active ingredient, we'll say, for people on diabetes who use this. And one of the reasons people use this when you have diabetes is you actually end up using less insulin, right? You're able to manage it helps manage your blood sugar so that you're not taking as much insulin. And that's good in insofar as, one, you don't have to use as much insulin and that's less expensive, but also it's it's better for your blood sugar to be more stable than up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, because you're treating you're treating yourself essentially as you go through the day. I don't know enough about it, but I do know that, the people I know who have diabetes are, they try to keep it level, or as level as they possibly can, because it's better for you. You feel better, and all the downstream effects of being diabetic, or downstream long-term effects of being diabetic. There's evidence that those are less likely to occur, or less likely to be as severe if you are able to manage your blood sugar and keep it closer to level. So this is a bad story all the way around. And I think that the tech angle, at least as I see it, is there are a lot of tech bros promoting this.
Yeah.
But I'm stunned, actually, that the tech bros are doing a bad thing.
Again, I don't believe you.
I'm criticized for being cynical quite often, and I will say that I think my cynicism has served me well in if I guess we can call what I do journalism. But this right here, this seems like a cash grab, and it seems like the people who need it for diabetes are less likely to be able to pay these exorbitant amounts of money. So it seems like they're charging those who can afford it for weight loss this high amount of money.
Yeah, and pretty much.
It's bad all around. Looks like your next story is happy times. Here, what's your next story?
Sort of happy times.
Kidding.
My final story, third story this time, is non-consensual AI porn maker leaks customer emails. So I don't know if you've followed this, you as in the people listening, but there's a lot of these AI programs that they're non-consensual AI porn. So basically what they do is you'll take somebody's face and basically swap it onto a nude body of some sort. Some of them are probably more sophisticated than that, and do various things, but a particularly popular one of, popular non-consensual AI porn maker has had all of his customer emails leaked online. The creator used Patreon to receive money and posted the images on the file hosting site called Mega. All of the AI images were created using Stable Diffusion, and most of the images, of course, contain female celebrities. But after a story came out on how Patreon has supported these non-consensual AI porn makers, Patreon started cutting off these accounts. So what happened is this particular maker sent out an email to all his supporters on Patreon, telling them that basically that they're going to switch over to some other service, and don't worry, he's going to fix it all. Unfortunately, he used CC instead of BCC in his email, and thus ended up leaking all of the emails of his customers. What do you think?
Shout out to the one of his customers who was like, what, fuck this.
Yeah.
But also I don't know if, because for example, on my Patreon, there's a free tier where you don't get anything really. You just get notified when I do things on Patreon. The idea is that somebody who's maybe thinking about it might be like, oh, well, okay, now I got to join. There's this really interesting thing going on. That's clearly not the case on my Patreon, because it's just like the show from last night, right? It's just in case you missed it. And in case you haven't figured out a way to just get it, which would be trivial. So it's like people are just doing it because they want to give me money. But I could see journalists or other people who don't like what he's doing getting on a free tier or whatever at Patreon just to see what this guy's up to.
So apparently, you can read more in the article. It's a fairly long. It's not that long. It's a longer article, longer than I put into this story. But the writer of the article apparently did pay for the $60 a month. That was their highest tier version, because he was also working on the other story about Patreon supporting these non-consensual AI porn makers. So he did the $60 per month one, and then tried to contact the creator. Apparently didn't get any response. And he was the one who ended up getting all of the emails, because he was on that list as well. And the CC, not BCC email list. So that's how we got it. And that's how it was leaked. So it was leaked directly to these, to 404 Media's, reporter. And then apparently he tried to contact some of the emails on the list, and didn't get any responses, surprisingly.
Well, that's good, I guess. I think that it's one of these things where like, I'm not sure it's great that all these customers emails are out there. I think the person doing the bad thing was the person creating these images.
That's true. Yeah.
It's, sort of the idea that law enforcement is supposed to have about things like fentanyl, right? It's like you want to go after
Right.
the manufacturers of it. You want to go up the food chain after the people that are illegally importing it, etc. You don't want to
Right.
you don't want to bust, random people for having it, because that really all you're doing is screwing with people's lives who just happen to have in this case, maybe an addiction. They suffer with addiction, or in people's case with this, maybe they're just curious or think it's kind of novel, or they're horny or whatever. And like, that's like, sure, it's like unethical, I suppose, but it's like unethical in the same way that like it's unethical to use a drug like cocaine, whereas the person manufacturing and importing it is ruining countless people's lives. And so that's like a far bigger thing. So I don't know if I had access to this email list, I would be, and I thought I was the only one, I would probably be unwilling to publish it. I would think.
Yeah. I don't think the reporter published it. He just has the list and tried to contact other people on there. I don't know if he put it anywhere, to my knowledge. I don't want to.
If it's out there like that, someone published it.
Yeah.
Right. I can't imagine that this isn't a thing, maybe not available to me just by searching for it. But if I were to try to chase this story down and get access to the list, I probably would be able to gain access to it. And I would have, all these people's emails. I don't know what I would do with them. I don't have any, I don't have any resources in my news department to trace anything down. But I'm not sure that the list of emails is really that big a deal. It is interesting, though, that this reporter tried to email people and nobody responded.
Yeah.
Because you would think somebody would at least respond and tell him to go F himself, or try to like minimize their own behavior. Or maybe, who knows, you get in contact with another journalist. You're like, no, I'm covering this story too, actually.
Yeah. Well, I can see that. I have a feeling that it wasn't a huge list. I mean, obviously not that big if it's all CC'd, but we don't think it's not that surprising as a small like sample size, right?
Well, but, and at $60 a month, you don't need that many people subscribing at that rate to pay your mortgage. Or just pay all your bills that aren't your mortgage, cover your car payment. Like 20 people, it's $1,200. I mean, there's fees and stuff, but you end up with like $1,100 or something. Like that's not big money or whatever, but that's a pretty nice car payment.
Yep.
And so, it's good that Patreon eventually stopped doing this. And I have some sympathy for companies like Patreon, because they do have pressure from all kinds of different places where they don't like the content people are creating to have it taken down. Does the article mention which alternative that this person went to? I wouldn't, as a journalist, I wouldn't tell people where to go give this guy more money. So maybe if they know, but what's it called? I know there's Subscribestar that people use. That is basically the land of misfit patrons, I think people call it.
They didn't say, or the reporter didn't say what, if anything, the guy moved to. He might have shut the whole thing down. I don't know. He did mention that other possibilities are just using crypto,
right?
Just sending crypto directly. That's a pretty common one. And I don't know if he mentioned he mentioned something. Oh, I think he mentioned like PayPal is another possibility. Yeah. But I think PayPal would be kind of the same thing. They might turn a blind eye until somebody points it out that this is happening.
Right. Or maybe not even that they're turning a blind eye. It's just that, I'm not sure that I want PayPal that intimately involved in my business either, where they're like scrutinizing every transaction. Like, you know what I'm saying? So maybe that's more that they're just kind of hands off until they find out that something's wrong. And I think that's a better way anyway, because PayPal's for all intents and purposes now, it's a financial institution. So it's probably better that they're not digging into everybody's because it's probably better that they're doing that. Crypto is kind of a pain in the ass. So I would assume this person has a way to take dollars. I hope they're not on Fourth Wall. That'd be I'd be pretty upset. There've been a couple people that I've seen on Fourth Wall that I was pretty upset about, but it was, I'm not going to go bother them about it because it's not like these people are doing horrible things or whatever. But
well, we don't know what he moved to, if anything. So, and
I mean,
he
may have made so much money that he's just like, screw it, I'm taking the money and running.
Maybe it doesn't sound like it though, but maybe. But on a personal note, I don't think PayPal should exist, but that's just me.
Or at least in its current form, it should. I think. Like I've seen arguments that PayPal should be picked up by a bank and that it should be a service run by a bank, subject to all the regulation of a bank.
I have a deep personal hatred of PayPal, so I don't think it should exist anymore.
I use PayPal every day.
You do not know what I just went through dealing with PayPal. So.
I know what many people have gone through. I sold on eBay for 12 years, so I know what other people like. I know other eBay sellers and people who have bought things on eBay, and not everybody has, for me, even though I don't do that anymore, I still have the email address of the account manager from my old business. So in the event that I do have a problem, assuming this person hasn't been laid off, I'm not going to contact their customer support. I'm going to email this guy.
Yeah.
His name is Kyle, because of course his name is Kyle. Ooh,
yeah.
Lights are
freaking out.
Yeah. That's all right. Because we're talking about PayPal. My lights are like, hey, I think somebody paid for me with PayPal. So yeah, this is all bad. I don't like any of this stuff. But this is the problem and it's not really. I mean, this is the problem with any with a piece of software that I can just install on my computer, right? I can just use it for whatever I want. And in the end, like we just have to accept that, right? You can't. People are running Linux that are working for terrorist organizations, right? So I mean, that's an extreme example, but obviously there's got to be somebody somewhere and running a terrorist organization on Linux, right? And so, these models that you can install locally, they're just going to be used for bad stuff. Well, not just, it's just that they're going to be used for bad stuff. They'll be used for normal stuff too, but they'll also be used for bad stuff. I think a lot of people just install it locally because of all the weird restrictions you get when you try to do it online. Like if I try to make jokes about anybody, actually, it's like, this might violate our terms of service. And I'm like, but I just want to make a joke about somebody.
Well, yeah, I found that, Stable Diffusion, which you can install locally and run it. It's open source and everything. It was great. I had it running locally, although I didn't want to now I have to maintain it, which is another whole other issue. But, and then I compare it to other online ones, and it's like the other online ones just don't have all the features, or they, they're too narrow kind of stuff, or they try to charge you nickel and dime you for everything. Right. Right. It's just annoying.
Yeah. I mean, it's better, I guess, to have control of it, like on balance, but then you're going to get stuff like this. You're just going to get stuff like this.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes. I think that, in this case, the person responsible is the person who was doing it, not the end user, not the person who was having this person make the images, nor was it Stable Diffusion's fault. It was the person doing it. And now that this person is known, maybe they're going to be in some trouble at some point. Maybe some civil actions will be taken against them. I don't know. I don't know if we are at a point yet where we even know if it's civilly, legally actionable for somebody to go after you for using their likeness to create AI nude images. But I would imagine that it probably is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would think so. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the details, and it's on a private server, so to speak. So.
Yeah. I mean.
Or where the legality goes, I have no idea. But if it makes you feel any better.
Go ahead.
This email that he sent out where he said, he lost his income from Patreon while he's looking for something else. But apparently, according to the email, he had also just quit his job because he was making so much money from Patreon. So he's kind of doubly screwed, and who knows what's going to come out from all of this.
Well, I hope this guy goes and finds another job. I don't want this guy.
Legitimate work, right?
Yeah. I mean, this guy did something bad, and maybe, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there are civil actions that people can take against him, but I'm not sure that this guy should be, destitute as a result of this. But
yeah.
But that's a conversation for another show. Great stories this week. Thanks for taking care of the stories. Like I said, everybody, I just not feeling so great. So, we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I don't think you've ever closed out this show, have you?
I think I have a long time ago, but I usually don't. So do you want me to screw up the outro?
Yeah. Matt gets to screw up the outro this week.
All right. Okay. Thanks for watching us. Glad you're here. We do this every week. It's fun. I don't remember all the stuff I'm supposed to say, but you should check out our other shows. If you like this show, I have no idea if you'd like our other shows because the other shows are very different, but you can see them. Find out about them on echoplexmedia.com. And of course, you can see our live streams of those shows on twitch.tv/echoplexmedia. And of course, you can support us and buy some cool swag at eplex.store. Like and subscribe. There should be one side is the like and subscribe. The other side is the next video you'd watch, probably your previous video. And have a great teching week.